Are you tired of your partner spending money on stupid stuff while you're trying to save up for something or you're trying to pay off debt? And you've talked to them about it and they're not quite getting it? Well, today I've got a couple tips to help get both of you rowing in the same direction. Hey lovebirds, so today I've got 4 questions that your partner is probably thinking when you're starting to talk to them about financial goals, and it helps to explain why they're not quite on the same page with you. And then I've got 3 tips and 3 habits, 3 things you can try to help answer those questions for yourself, for your partner, and help get you on the same page towards whatever your financial goal is. One of the first questions that's going through your partner's mind is why? Why are we trying to get out of debt? Why are we trying to save up for a house? And it may be that they're not quite really understanding what the benefit is to them. A couple months ago, my wife came to me and said, hey, I want to buy a Cricut machine. That's like a little printer where you create a design on your computer and you feed it into this machine and you put in some little paper and it prints out a little logo or a little sticker that you can put on all sorts of stuff. She was explaining to me that, hey, this machine is going to cost a couple $100 and then maybe another $100 for all these supplies, and she was going to print stickers for her friends and for her coworkers. And I was thinking, okay, why are we spending money on this machine? I wasn't really sure what was going to be in it for me. And she said, yes, it's going to cost some money, but I'm going to charge a little bit to my friends for these stickers that I'm going to be making for them. And so I said, oh, that sounds great. Let's do that, honey. Again, the question that your partner is thinking is why? Why are we doing this? And if they're not really sure what the reward is, they're not going to want to do it. A second question that your partner is thinking when you're talking about financial goals is why not something else? Because when it comes to money, $1 spent in one direction means $1 not spent in another direction. So yeah, they might understand that getting out of debt is a good thing. They understand that saving up for a house they might kind of want that. But if they don't want it more than something else in their life, then they're not going to want to be on that same boat with you. An example is, let's say you're trying to watch something on Netflix, or you're trying to choose, and you have a choice between watching a 2-hour documentary on the Vietnam War, or you could spend 2 hours watching about 6 episodes of The Office, even though you've seen all the episodes 10 times by now. And so that question is, which direction do we want to go? Sometimes one way is comfortable and it's nice and you know it's going to be fun, and another direction is a little bit of a risk. So going back to your partner, they might be thinking, well, why not spend our money somewhere else? And so when you're talking to them about this financial goal, you have to talk to them in a way that they want it as well. If they want the financial goal too, then it's going to make a lot more sense for them. The third question your partner is probably thinking is, why now? So we've talked about having a good reason and having a reason for a financial goal that's better than all the other stuff going on in your lives, but it's also the immediate reward. And it's the same that goes with food, because I could eat this delicious Oreo, and I know it's going to be chocolatey and crunchy and creamy on the inside, but if I do that, then it's going to be a slippery slope to eating the entire package. And so I have to see the choice, and I have to see the eating of this one Oreo as a bad idea. And the same goes for financial goals. Have that immediacy to say, well, it's either immediate pain if we don't do it now, or it's immediate reward if we do it now. It feels good to get a little bit farther down the road. And if your partner doesn't quite feel that pain or feel that reward, that immediacy, then they're probably not going to be on board with you. The fourth question is probably my favorite, is what are you talking about? And it could be where your partner just wasn't listening, or you never really sat down to talk about and to explain how important this goal is to you. A perfect example is when my wife went to the store. She asked me if I needed anything. I said yeah, and I texted her that I needed bananas and black beans and diced tomatoes and cilantro. And then I went off to CrossFit and work out. And that particular day was a really hard workout. So when I got home, I was super tired, I was super hungry, I needed to make a protein shake, which I used bananas with, and my wife had gotten everything on that list but bananas. And what I realized, what I could have done in that text message, in my communication, and said, I'm out of bananas, I need bananas, and then here are 3 other things that if you happen to pick them up, awesome. If not, I can go get them later. And the same could be for your financial goal, where in your mind, there is something super important that it is to you, but for some reason, you just haven't gotten around to saying how really important it is. And your partner may be fine with working on that goal, but if they don't know how really important it is to you, they're just gonna be nonchalant about it, and it may not be their fault. And so the 3 tips that I have for you today help to alleviate all of those if you do all 3 of them. The first tip is to start using what's known as zero-based budgeting. It's where you look at a period, either a month or a quarter, and say, okay, well, how much money are we thinking we're gonna bring in that month? So let's say the month of January, and you're gonna bring in $4,000, and you create a plan to decide, okay, where all that money is gonna go. Some of it's gonna go towards savings, some to a financial goal, some to fun, others to the bills and all the other stuff. And so what happens is you assign every penny to a particular goal. And then what happens is if something comes up, if you need to spend more money somewhere else, in order to spend $100 in one place, you have to take $100 from another place to keep your budget balanced. And what that does is helps you prioritize to say, well, we need to spend $100 over here, so what do we want to say no to just for this month to make that happen? And what that does is when you have a financial goal, it's to say, well, if we're gonna keep our budget balanced, if we're not gonna spend ourselves into a hole, we need to spend so much on this goal this month to not get into trouble, which means there's not as much money for another goal. And for your partner, that helps them answer why not something else and why now. The next tip I have for you is to set joint goals. Have you sat down as a couple, as a family, and created a list of all the things that you want to do with money and put them in order? And when you do that, when you have that conversation and you say, okay, number 1 is house, number 2 is get out of debt, or maybe number 1 is get out of debt, number 2 is get a house, whatever the order is, you have a piece of paper or a Google Doc or something where as a couple you've decided this is what's most important to us, and then the second thing and the third thing. Not to say that any particular goal isn't important, it's just more or less important than all the other stuff. And when you set that list, what you do is you help answer the couple questions of why not something else, but also what are you talking about? When you make this list, it's a great time to sit down and explain, well, this is what I want, and here's why it's really important to me, so that you're both on the same page when it comes to what you want. The third and final tip is to have regular scheduled budget meetings. And the reason you want to do this is because a lot of us, I think, are afraid of having to try to corner our partner to talk about something important. Or maybe you're the partner and you don't want to be cornered when it's just like, hey, I need to talk to you about something, and it just comes out of left field. My wife and I do a monthly meeting just to check in on stuff and make sure everything's going okay. And then throughout the month, we have, little 30-second and 5-minute conversations whenever is needed. But if you have those regularly scheduled meetings, then that helps you answer that final question of what are you talking about? It gives you that space, a safer space, an intentional space where you can talk about your thoughts and feelings about money without having to corner each other. Hey lovebirds, thanks for watching. If you want a fight-free way to start budgeting as a couple, check out this video. And then if you've been thinking about using the Mint app as a couple, check out this video here. All right, take care. That was a great video. That was the best video ever. I should talk about Oreos in more videos.